to more of the Cook and Joe Show. Ron Cook and Joe Starkey, Sports Radio 93.7, The Fan.
All right, here's my question with the Pirates. Have they captured your interest at all through these first 9 games? I'm not asking you what their record will be after 10 or 15 or 162. Have they captured your interest? Are they interesting?
Yes.
Ron?
I'm not quite ready to go there yet. Yeah, I'm not. I watched a lot of the games Saturday night. I worked off of the Penguins game Saturday day and then watched the entire game Saturday night, actually. Almost turned it off yesterday when they were down 3-0 in the fifth, and then they've come back. All 5 of their wins, they've come back. The way they play defense interests me. The relief pitching has been excellent. I mean, Quintana was not good yesterday. Still not ready to say that I'm flat out interested, but a little more than I was before.
I am. I've been interested, and I can't help it either. I watch what I want. We love what we love, Bob. We like what we like. We watch what we watch, right? I can't tell you why I like.
It's been played very well. They play good baseball. When it's good baseball, it's
I like
good to
mint
watch.
chocolate chip ice cream. I just do.
And I don't.
And
I
you
like
don't.
maraschino cherries.
Do you?
Oh, man.
On your ice cream?
Maraschino man.
So if I wasn't interested, I wouldn't watch. I can promise you that, because there's a trillion things for me to do on a given night with a kid at home, my wife at home, many different interests, such as golf, Bob. But I watched the last 3 games of that national series and watched them with great joy and made it a point to watch it yesterday. I made it a point to watch it. Now, I was very, very disappointed in Shelty's lineup. But to answer my own question, yes, that's just my honest answer. I really want to watch the game tonight. I thought I might already be out after 8 or 6 or 10 games this season. Like this lineup was and probably is really bad. But you know what? I'm interested. They've captured my attention for now.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, and that's all you can do. If you're asking for right now watching, you're going to watch a competitive team. Now, the longer it goes, the more likely it'll go the way I think we all expect it to go, and you're going to see shortcomings, especially with the starting pitching or whatever they're going to do with these. I don't even know their philosophy now. It's like openers.
I just try to caution. It's a long year,
yeah,
as you guys
it is.
know. They started 1-6 last year, and then they won 11-5. They were 12-11 after 23
And then
games.
it all ended.
And then it all went downhill.
I know. And clearly that's probably the way it's going to go. But for now, I'm really interested to watch them play
last
tonight.
2 games, what he has done.
Will Crow, too.
Bednar is undeniably good.
The relief pitching has been good. You know, you mentioned Shelty's lineup yesterday. When I first saw it, I'm thinking, I've seen Sunday lineups. Jim Leland did it. Chuck Tanner did it. Clint Hurdle did it. I think John Russell did, if he remembered to put in his lineup card. That they always give these guys days off after night games. But you take Hayes and Reynolds out of the lineup, I'm thinking this is one of the worst I've ever seen. And then I thought, okay, that means they'll score 10 runs and win today. That's what usually happens. They did get 5. They did get 5 and had enough to win. And after the second inning, they didn't give up a run.
And that's the key. The bullpen, as you said, kept them in the game so that they can start picking away. They got a couple of – and listen, honestly, 2 of their runs were a result of just pure hustle. Castillo outlegged what would have been a double play, and so did Shatsugo. He did the same thing.
Tutsugo.
Don't get me started. So –
And then the relay play to get Bell out at the plate. Just tremendous.
And you know, I heard some people say they shouldn't have sent Bell. It required a perfect throw.
I would have.
I had no
problem sending
if I'm
him.
a third base coach, I'm going to test them to make and if they make a perfect throw, then they make a perfect throw. I can't do anything about it. But chances are they won't. But they did.
Yeah, that lineup was something to look at, and I don't like it, and I don't agree with it. And Shelty looked good because they won. I think you're playing at home. You're coming off a nice win. It's April. Did Juan Soto get the day off? Did Josh Bell get the day off? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
If you're going to rest,
I don't like the philosophy.
How about rest one guy? If you really, really need to rest a guy who's 25 years old in April, then rest one of them.
Or then play him
Not
and
both.
rest the other tonight in Milwaukee. You know?
Yeah, but I often wonder what constitutes rest because Brian Hayes came into the game later. So what is rest in baseball?
I guess just get away from him mentally a little bit.
Maybe.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Especially
Ron, they
this
had some
early in the
really
season.
bad lineups last year. They really did. The likes of I'm looking at one right now that included Phil Evans, Eric Gonzalez, Todd Frazier, Gregory Polanco, and Kevin Newman. I'm going to send you some lineups. We can compare from last year.
Well, you wrote about
Some of
or
the worst
talked about
lineups
this, that
in
the
history.
lineup was worse this year than last year on opening day, right?
Yes, I did. Michael
And it
Chavis
was,
is
and it
fun
was.
to watch, isn't he? So far,
He's been
So
great.
far.
plays with passion. Vogelback is fun to watch so far. Plays with a little passion himself.
But I think the biggest guy for me is Castillo. I keep saying it. He's 24. They acquired him by trade. They're up here playing him, and he's playing well.
Where do you think he plays eventually? Because
Second base,
don't you think Gonzalez is their second baseman of the future?
maybe, but for now it's him.
But where do you think his ultimate position is?
I don't know.
I don't know that I've
they
seen
got a lot
enough
of.
about worrying if he's going to be an everyday player down the road.
But for now, I want him to play
absolutely.
every day.
But for now, they don't have anyone better.
Right. So, Peguero supposedly is a shortstop of the future with Cruz in the outfield, but I want to see those guys sooner than later too.
You see, Cruz hasn't done a lot in the
No,
minors
I
yet.
know.
No
So
home
what do we
runs,
make
I
of
don't-
that?
I
What do
don't
we
think-
make of that? He's 8 for 32.
No
He's
home
batting
runs, right?
.216, no home runs, 2 doubles, 8 strikeouts. So I'm going to stick with my original opinion, which is why I think this was financially motivated. I also thought there was a legitimate case baseball-wise
But
for a
he's not
guy
ready.
who played he had 9 major league at bats and 11 AAA at bats, and all his minor league stats added up. 1,500 at bats, a .279 average, and an .802 OPS.
Comparable to Key Brian Hayes' minor league stats.
Okay.
And they kept him down there, and he came up and immediately had a red-hot month, and now he's turned into even though he hasn't done it consistently.
But at least Key Brian Hayes played at AAA.
I understand. But if you're going to look at total at-bats, and if you're looking for anything that would indicate that he's ready to come up, I would not have said Key Brian Hayes is ready offensively to come up.
No, my point would be the level of outrage that this brought forth would lead you to believe they were looking at Mickey Mantle coming up here. We have a guy who has an okay minor league track record and something like 12 AAA at bats, and now he's 8 for 32 to start the season or whatever he is, 7 for 32 with no home runs and 2 extra base hits. Just let him marinate for a while. Marinate or marinate?
Some other teams that are not named big markets have brought up guys at 21 who have no experience in the minors, but they're good enough they feel to put them in there.
That's great.
I'm just
Seattle
saying
did it last year with a kid, and he was horrible at the major league
I
level.
realize
Had to be
that.
Wasn't
sent
ready.
back.
But they believed he was, and they weren't going to stand in his way until we proved otherwise, and he did.
Well, we
So
saw
how
them.
mu-
But
we
now
saw
that
him
kid
here
is
bring
back.
We saw him bring up Polanco. Tremendous pressure to bring Polanco up. Had a great 2 weeks. Fell off the face of the earth. Had to be sent back. Is some of these guys aren't quite ready? Maybe. And Cruz, I still wonder if the fact. Now he had a couple good games in the spring. I'll give him that. Is the fascination with him that he's such a great prospect, or that he's 6'7"?
Well, you don't see many 6'7" inch.
Does that get more attention than maybe his potential?
I don't know.
It's interesting to me. I just think you can make a very solid case of let the guy
Marinate.
succeed for a little while at
Marinate.
AAA.
Marinate.
Yes, marinate for a little while, Bob.
Nothing wrong with marination. Is that a word?
Marination.
Marinate.
So I believe this too. I know Ron does too. If this team starts winning, and I think they will within the next couple of years, I think they're going to start to win a little bit next year. And then I think they're actually going to be in contention in 2 years. I do. People will flock back to the ballpark. I can promise you that.
If that happens, yes, they will. I'm not so sure it will happen in the next 2 years. There's so many guys they need to step up all together at the same time here, and that's hard to do in baseball.
I know. But even by the end of this year, you could be looking at your guy Cruz out there with Brian Reynolds. You could be looking at Hayes. You could be looking at Peguero. You could be looking at Castillo. You could be looking at Mason Martin. Some of those guys won't work out. But then you have the next wave, including
maybe the catcher in a couple of years, Henry Davis.
I would say certainly by 2024, the catcher. I think by the end of next year, he'll be here. We had Bob Walk tell us, and I think most people agree that Gonzalez is the guy in the minors, that's the guy. That's their best prospect right there. And we could get a glimpse of him by the end of this year.
Hey, speaking of young guys, how about Contreras the other night?
And
he was really good.
Threw the heck out of the ball, didn't he?
And then I would follow the same plan, which is you supplement your pitching a little bit by bringing guys in. I don't know that you get as lucky as they did or smart, lucky or smart with Burnett and Liriano, but you supplement your pitching, and I think they have a chance. I think they have a chance to be good here in the not too distant future. Mark, go ahead.
Number one, a friend and I went to the game yesterday, and number one, I had never been to I haven't been to a Pirate game forever that had so few people in the ballpark. I was shocked by how few were there. Number one. Number two, the lineup, as one of you said before, was so horrible. That made the beginning of the game so boring that when you have a lineup that towards the bottom of it, you've got Cole Tucker batting 167, Van Nader batting 0. There was one other guy batting 100 plus. So when that inning came, we were going to leave at the start of the 7th inning and thought, all right, what the hell? Miracles happen. A miracle happened. And there really were some great games, great plays during the game. So, yeah, I'm in. It's hard not to be in with the way they're playing right now. Let's talk about it when they lose 7 or 8 in a row at some point, which might even be this week. But it was a lot of fun to go to the game yesterday.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. You couldn't have been surprised that there were just hardly anyone there. I was going to go and then saw it was going to be like a high of 36 degrees. I'm not sitting out in that cold.
Ron,
and especially with the way, the last number of years have gone. What did they have? 9,000, 9,009, 13. I don't know what they announced yesterday. People were going to. It's going to take them a while to come back.
There were not more than 3,000 or 4,000 in that ballpark. Every foul ball. There was one.
Saturday night was the same way.
It was unbelievable.
There was nobody there.
It was unbelievable.
The balls were bouncing all over the place.
There was nobody there. It was announced, I think, at 8,735 yesterday.
Wasn't even close. But again, and by the way, the nice thing was we were sitting behind home plate, but we were a little higher up. But as the shade kept coming, we kept moving with the sun. And in the sun, it was livable. In the shade, it was the ski cap and the mittens and everything zipped up. But it was a really great afternoon. So, again, I'm in.
Now, will you go back?
Yes.
Okay.
You know what? I also thought after the game when they interviewed from Pittsburgh, our reliever.
Bednar,
Bednar.
Yeah, Bednar. When they were talking to Bednar, and Bednar's comments the other day about what a great team this is to play with, and he said just all the right things about the clubhouse. It's nice to see guys who are enjoying what they're doing.
Appreciate the call, man.
When he said he sat behind home plate, I was wondering if he had the Pompiani seats.
He might have. Did you give him tickets, Bob?
He could have.
Have you haven't been to a game yet behind home plate, have you?
This year?
Yeah.
Not yet.
My wife has.
Has she already?
Yeah, she has. Not me.
Don't get me wrong.
I've been up in the press box a few times. I like the press box.
Don't get me wrong here. This year's team, I still think is going to be very bad, and I don't think people will come out to watch. But once they get good, even for a little while, like the 11 team, that was, 5 games over 500, but in first place in July, early July, late June, and people were flocking back. I just think that's the way it works.
Right, except that it didn't work the second time when they tried this redo after they took players away from the 15 team. They tried another 5-year plan or whatever. It did not work, and now they're doing another.
Yeah, it didn't have.
I understand.
Prospects.
That's the problem. You think you have prospects. You mentioned a bunch that were in that lineup. When they acquired Eric
Gonzalez,
a lot of people
think anybody really thought they had a lot of prospects in 16, 17.
They
18.
were basing it on who they had and telling you they had some prospects, but the prospects never panned out, and that's the danger when
you never know about prospects.
Right. But you have to do it this way. I get it.
Yeah, and you have to add. Particularly, I think the way their prospect pool is shaping up, they're going to have to add with pitching, with veteran pitching at some point, the same way the 13 team did.
Yeah, but they better hope they have a core like Keller right now is. If you're going to have a lot of excitement for what you've seen over the past weekend. What's Mitch Keller? He's supposed to be
Huge
the ace.
disappointment so far.
Mitch Keller hasn't done anything,
Yeah.
and if anything, I have less confidence moving forward. I know it's only 2 games, but based on the build-up, what he's done, he was popping at 98 in spring. He looked good in the spring, and then, control issues, all these things.